as it is for you to breathe. That is as easy as it is for you to experience, to express God. So as we go forth in this service with Francie's lesson and the rest of the day, know that only good is out there for you. It is our choice of what we choose and why. Today, let us choose God. Let us choose good. Amen and amen.
Do you hope that you are abundantly wealthy? Do you hope that you can win the lottery? Maybe you are hoping you can be a better person, spouse, or friend. Well, all of these are desires that we might have, and we might be sitting back hoping that they miraculously happen to us. Yeah. So the thing I wanted to point out today is that if there's something in this message that makes you want to holler or scream out amen or yes or any of those things, feel free to do that, because we're going to be affirming some stuff today that I think could be powerful in your lives, and you might just feel that Spirit of God moving in and through you. And we want you to express as freely as you care to. But today we're going to be exploring that spiritual connection that we have between ourselves and this passage from Hebrews 11:1, the meaning of faith. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. But let's first affirm our statements of truth, shall we? I am a child of God. I am deserving of good in my life. I am accepting my good now. So let's look at this a little bit more. The meaning of faith. Now, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Indeed, by faith, our ancestors received approval. By faith, we understand that the worlds were prepared by the Word of God, so that what is seen was made from things that are not visible. And what do these passages mean to us in this 21st century in our spiritual journey? Well, faith is the assurance, but faith is the assurance of what? Is it those material things I talked about a minute ago? Those material things in our lives that we long for, that we hope for? Or is it beyond that deepest meaning that we can pull forth in this now moment? Is it beyond our realm of thinking and beyond all of our desires? Perhaps it is. You see, faith is a spiritual power. Faith is a spiritual power that we all possess. And faith is a spiritual power that we can tap into at all times to know the truth that no matter what is happening in the outside world, the physical world, that all is well. And so from the Bible, we continue with Hebrews 8 through 10. By faith, Abraham obeyed when he was called to set out for a place that he was to receive as an inheritance. And he set out, not knowing where he was going. By faith, he stayed for a time in the land he had been promised, as in a foreign land, living in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who were heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked forward to the city that has foundations, whose architect and builder is God. So Abraham knew faith. He totally knew what faith was, because he went out and he stayed in that place where he knew that his good was coming forth. He knew in his heart and soul to listen for God's guidance, to find that way that he could connect to that knowing, and that was through faith. And you see, through that place of inheritance is also in the revealing word defined as a divine idea. So our inheritance is divine ideas that come to us through us all the time, willing to serve us in a way that can bring forth that highest good. And Abraham did that. He listened to that divine guidance for not only himself, but for his family and everybody that was with him. And he was in a place that he knew was temporary. He was in a place that he knew was moving beyond that there was going to be a greater place for him and his family where they could grow and prosper and serve more people and invite more people in. And that story is similar to what is happening to us. We came here to this church knowing that this was a beginning, that the place that we are to inherit is someplace bigger, a larger church, a place where we could raise more consciousness. And we, just like Abraham, we knew with faith that this was going to happen. And I think most people here know with faith that it's going to happen, don't you? Yes. This is one of those yes times or amen times. Yes. And we know it not only for ourselves, but we know it for other people out there, don't we? Yes. Yes. So the thing is that a couple questions I have for you is that do we know without a doubt, with faith, that all is well always?
Yes.
Yes. All the time?
Yes.
No matter if you're preparing for surgery?
Yes.
Or you don't know how to pay that bill tomorrow?
Yes.
That's what I want to hear. Do we believe faith is a power that is within each of us?
Yes.
And I put the little 12 powers guy there. Because faith is actually in your pineal gland, in the middle of your brain, which we've talked about that before, and that's for another talk. But anyway, but because we believe that faith is ours, we can have that conviction that faith is in our life all the time. The disciple Peter represents faith because he was the first disciple to get it. To get the idea that, yeah, I have faith. I have that knowing. You know, it's like when you know that God is in your life. That true conviction, that true knowing that no matter what happens, God is in the midst of each and everything. And Peter truly expressed that. So do we get it? Do we get it like Peter gets it? Do we know beyond knowing that God is in our lives? Yes. Because if we do get it, if we do believe it, then we are on the right path for our spiritual truth to come forth and express in this world, not only to us, but to everyone around us. And guess what happens then? We receive our highest good, don't we? Yes. The youth church is exploring this morning their unlimited potential. They are exploring this truth. I am unlimited potential. Can you affirm that with me? That we each are? I am unlimited potential. And when you affirm this, you get that feeling that you're just saying words. But if you can take it a little bit deeper and know it like the children know it. See, the children are a lot closer to that beingness that they were born with, that we were all born with. And children know beyond themselves that, there's no limitations for them. That's why kids will go to the edge of a deck, or they'll go to, whatever, the edge of the swimming pool and look in the water, or the edge of a creek out there, the pond across the street. I mean, they'll go to that edge because they know that they are unlimited potential, that there's nothing there for them to fear. And we have to be willing to do that same thing, because we are just as much spiritual beings as the children are. Can you remember a time in your life where you had that conviction, where you knew beyond knowing that you were unlimited potential, that something showed up in your life that you said, wow, I know this is a God thing. I know that this is an aha. I know that God is in the midst of what is happening right now. Can you remember a time that happened? And what does that do to you? How do you feel in that moment when that happens? I mean, it can be powerful, can't it? I mean, your energy already starts shifting within yourself if you focus in on that moment. And that's what happens to us if we stay focused on that faith, that knowing that you know. But some of you might have forgotten those times. Some of you might not remember. Or maybe you don't even realize the true essence of who you really are. But most people here I've been hearing yes from, so I'm hoping we're all on the same path. But you see that essence that we have, that we're born with, that the children express so freely, that essence is always longing to come out, to come forth, to play, to be who we are. And that longing that you have within you is that true essence of that spiritual being that wants to be. And that true essence is that longing that you always have that is laying there saying, there's something more that I need. There's something more that I want to have. There's something more for me to do. And that something more is recognizing that essence and expressing from that essence. And when we do that, then there's no question at all that you are the assurance of things hoped for, which lies within each of us and is ready to express. And when we know this truth, we can know that unlimited potential of the Spirit of God moving in and through us. Which brings us full circle right back to this now moment. Because the thing is, last week, Warren mentioned the new building. And before he had even put that in his message, because I'm always ahead of him on writing my messages for some reason. I just tease him. Anyway, I had already put it in my outline that I was going to say something about the building. And he writes his message last week, and I said, oh my gosh, it is in that oneness of mind that we come together in these thoughts, and we come together to express. So our hopes and dreams, this validated for me that our hopes and dreams are on this vision of this new building, that we are all collecting this energy together for this new building. And we have to think about this. The universe, God, has been synthesizing all of our dreams, all of our hopes, all of our desires to come up with this perfect place that can accommodate not only our needs, but those who have yet to come. Have you thought about that? I mean, it's a mighty task. But when you think about each and every person here having their own idea of what they might want or what they might desire in this new facility that we are going to call Unity Church and Spiritual Center, and you have to think about all of those ideas and desires merging together and then synthesizing into this perfect place. No wonder it hasn't manifested yet in our lives. We have this new place that is going to be far more powerful than anything we could have thought of when we first started looking. And what is coming forth? 48 acres. That's huge. And when you think about releasing all of this to God and allowing God to put this all together, to synthesize all of this and make it, it's a powerful thing. That is a mighty task that is just going to be so awesome. So what does this look like for this to manufacture and manifest and be in our lives? It looks like the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And we all have faith that that's going to happen, can't we? Yes. And yet, sometimes we downplay the possibilities with doubt, or the unknowing of what happens next, or not being able to release it all to God because we can't see that highest good. We don't know what it is. We haven't seen the picture. We haven't seen it visualized on a PowerPoint slide. We haven't seen it, the drawings of the buildings. And yet, if we synthesize all of everybody's hopes and desires and that faith, that knowing that it's going to be a grand place, it is going to be a grand place, isn't it? Yes. But we can easily get caught in that trap of thinking that we know what's best. I know I do. Well, I know what's best. We've got to have 6 restrooms for women only. Because by golly, we don't have enough restrooms, We don't want lines. But who knows if 6 is enough? Maybe we need 10. And I'm limiting myself by saying 6. You see what I'm saying? It's that simple. And so what happens is we get in line at the restroom and we get disappointed, we get upset, or we get distracted because we don't think there's enough restrooms, and we built this place to have enough restrooms. And I'm using this as a joke but yet it always is, and yet we don't have to have it be that way, do we? we can know that everything that is going into that facility is going to be for our highest good. And we can do that through faith. And that's where faith turns on in our lives. That's where we can go and accept the next thing that comes down the pipe, no matter what it is. If today we walk into our closet and we don't have the right shoes, and we put on some shoes and we come to church and everybody says, cute shoes, you know that those shoes are cool, aren't they? Like little burgundy Doc Martens that Russell has on. But it's all what we open our minds to. And you see, my ideas and Reverend Warren's ideas and each one of yours ideas and Jez's ideas about what the music should look like, the children's ideas of what they want their youth church to look like, the Southeast region thinking about a retreat center, the ideas of the builder and the contractor and the landowner, even the guy who originally had that land. There is probably some particle in his mind of what he wanted that land to be at some point. And all of those ideas are merging together with the divine ideas that are coming through each one of us to be that place that is wonderful. So, my question is, are you ready for the convergence of the universe to open up here in Conyers, Georgia to bless us with a magnificent home?
Yes.
Yes! Yeah. And you know what? All the finances are merging too on this project because you see, we started that campaign to have people commit to certain sums for the building fund. And the only reason, and this is from my heart, the only reason we did this was because the bank we were working with at the time, that we were trying to get a loan with at the time, wanted us to produce these numbers, right? But in our unity truth, we know that we don't need that. We don't need the financial commitment because we know that we're all committed, heart, soul, and body, into this project. And if we have that faith that I'm talking about, then we know that God is going to provide all that we need to make it happen, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes. And yet we went there and we asked people to literally commit. And, we thank everybody who did this. And it is important for me to say, that I really truly mean this from my heart, how the commitment has probably helped the bottom line because we know that the building fund has raised in the amount that is in there. But I don't want it to feel like a commitment in the way that you have to, whatever, not pay your bill or whatever it is that you need to do to make that commitment. And I know that I don't need that kind of commitment, a financial commitment. I need more of a spiritual commitment from each and every person because it is about raising that consciousness. It is about us having a place, not for all of these activities that we want to do, but a place where we can raise that consciousness of all the people in this community to be in that same place of holding each other in that Christ mind. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. That was a strong yes right up here. So, yeah. So let's see what we got here. Because it will take the faith and the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen, to make all of this align correctly, to be successful. And we know this, and we can commit to that truth, can't we? All of us can do that without signing the bottom line. We can all commit that we are going to have success in this, and everything that we do. Because if you have faith, it's not just about the building, it's about all that we do each and every day. So one of the things about commitment is that there's a definition about commitment that means getting rid of distractions. So what distractions in your life are keeping you from experiencing all that there is to life? Yeah, all those little distractions. You see, the study said that you have to stop believing that you can multitask. Big multitasker here. This was a hard one for me to swallow, but I figured it was my message to share with all you other multitaskers out there. And it said, don't try to do 50 to 70 different things. Because we not only do we multitask at one time, but we might be trying to do all these other jobs that aren't ours to do. Anybody do that?
Yes.
Come on, I know I'm going to see some hands, yeah. And it says that the thing is that we have to look at is the most successful people in the world. Because the most successful people in the world aren't doing 50 to 100 different things. They focus in on one thing, don't they? They define what area they want to work through. And they stay focused in that area. So you have to get rid of those distractions. Meaning, if you're a celebrity gossip magazine writer, then you're committed to your craft. If you're sitting there looking at Facebook or looking at all the gossip magazines or looking at those shows on TV. But if you're not a photographer, a writer, a designer, a fashion person that is in the field, then what do you have to do? You have to let go of that, don't you? And align yourself to where you're focusing. And they're not going to contribute to your bottom line. Now the key is, though, if you look at somebody like an NBA star, they focus in on one particular thing, don't they? They're not sitting there, there's not very many sports players that have played basketball and football and baseball and no. If they're going to be good and they are going to succeed at what they're doing, they focus in on that one sport. Same thing for us. We have to stay committed in one area and be all that we can be in that area. Now, in that area, there might be 10 different things that expand from that area, and that's okay too. But when we hone in on that one area, then what are we doing? We're honing in our faith to be able to move through what is ours to do and not take on all the other stuff. You see, faith works that way. You can't run around looking for the next thing, the next great spiritual thing to bring you that great aha and enlightenment. It's all within you. It's all from that place of those spiritual powers that are within you waiting to express. And we can do that right here at Unity. We can be in communion together in one mind, bringing forth all that we need to bring forward. Well, a couple of weeks ago, we were at Unity Village, and we were interviewing and guiding the new ministerial candidates and stuff in that license and ordination process, which is something that all students have to go through. And, a lot of these ministerial candidates are just so hopeful that they're going to be ordained ministers. And to tell you the truth, like we had 6 that were getting ready to graduate, and all 6 of them got to graduate. So 9 times out of 10, by the time they get to that point, they are ready to graduate. We had, I don't know how many other students that are their first year, second year, third year, but what was it, about 50 probably that we interviewed. And so they were in this process of really trying to figure out, is this mine to do? And especially those first year students. They're in this place thinking, I've come to ministerial school, I'm so excited, this is going to be so great. And some of them, that might not be their true calling. They really haven't listened to the true message. And yet they're there trying to be who they think they are supposed to be. And what is wrong with that picture? Well, they're trying. They're trying to be something that they shouldn't be. Again, they're not honing in and committing to that one path, that one idea. And this happens to us all the time, doesn't it? We have a hard time making decisions. We question that we don't know something or that we might think we know something. We try to figure out what we want, and we're not staying committed to that place where the true answers are, where we know beyond knowing what the answer is, and that's faith. So faith shows up even in making those life decisions. Faith shows up in everything that we go through in life. Now, I thought this was kind of cool because some people might be at this point thinking, okay, well, how does this all tie in? How is the building, the students, us committing to something, all of this tying into the idea of faith? Well, I read this article about, it was from Tim Shapiro, and he said 5 reasons why our congregation matters. And I thought, that is important for us to realize why we matter. And why it's important to have faith carry through us to where we go. So here's the 5 reasons. The first one was, it is a gathering space that allows room for human connection. Now, we all need places to connect these days, don't we? And some people will think that it's Starbucks, but Starbucks isn't the place to connect. Some people will say even any place that has Wi-Fi is a place to connect, but it's not. You don't get that real true essence of interfacing, that place where you can come together and say, won't you be my neighbor? That's what you get from a congregation. The second reason was, where would your local community be without you? And we've seen that here. You know, when people volunteer and they give, Geneva was gone for a couple of weeks and we really missed her. And it was, you know, it is that all coming together and being together. But beyond this, if you look at the local community, there's a 2010 study of congregations in Philadelphia that said, and all they did was take 12 particular congregations, and they said that they contributed $52 million back into the community because of what they do. I'm sure they included utilities and, you know, buying the paper plates and cups for coffee and all that kind of stuff. But $52 million, I mean, they took the average number of churches and then divided it by that 52 million. It came out to $476,000 annually that they put back into the community. Now, I don't know what the numbers are here in Conyers, but I know that if you just start adding up that stuff throughout the year, you know, that it's going to add up to some money that we're putting back in the community, let alone the activities that we do, let alone the interaction that we have with people out there in the community. So we are important. We do make a difference. We do matter. The third reason was, do you like music? Do you like to sing? I put their picture up there. You see, they've proven that congregations are one of the few places where people will actually sing out, no matter even if they don't think that they can sing. And they said that, you know, it's a place where people will offer up their voices. Isn't it true? Yeah, the only other place you might do that is in the car by yourself. But that's not doing it together. That's not doing it in community. And they said that most people won't sing at work. And then the other thing that they said was most people don't have live music at home. And of course, Jez and Mindy get live music at home. But most of us don't have live music at home, do we? No. So they said unless you go to the Braves game and sing the national anthem with the crowd, the only other place you're going to get that kind of interaction is here in a congregation here at church. And what a beautiful thing, because music actually makes you feel better. They have done studies on that. So it's important to come every week just to get that music in, just to be able to sing out, and nobody cares if you sound good or not. We all love it, don't we? The fourth reason is congregations are a place of learning. And it is important to learn about spiritual matters. I know it's warm, isn't it? Yep, we had a discussion about that. but it is valuable. It is a place where we have classes, where we have new people coming and offering new ideas. Farrah just talked to me about a course that she'd like to do. I mean, we have all these ways to grow spiritually, and some might sing to your soul and some might not, and that's okay. Janelle comes in every week to read over the prayer slips, and she sits in meditation that whole time. And it's a beautiful thing to have her presence here. And I know it feeds her soul too, right, Janelle? So it's important. The other thing is that the learning is not just about spiritual learning. You know, it's about other things too, about how to help each other, how to take care of each other. And also, that Financial Peace University course that's coming up, that's even a financial learning piece that we're going to be having. So there's all different kinds of ways of learning here. The fifth reason is that congregations, whatever the theology of your faith community, represent a reality beyond that which is comfortably apparent. And so, a quote from The Little Prince says, "What is essential is invisible to the eye." And isn't that what faith is? It's invisible to the eye. And yet we know that faith is within each of us. We know beyond knowing that we are here for a reason and that we can bring that. And the mystery can be deep within us, and we can bring it forth, and we can feel comfortable doing that. And so I ask you, what 5 reasons might you have that this congregation matters to you? Maybe you agree with all 5 that I just shared. For me, I came up with a quick 5. Number 1, all of you are family. Reverend Warren spoke of that during that prayer, and that's true. And if even some of the people that we saw at Unity Village or at the conference came up to me and said, "Oh, I haven't seen you for so long, but I know I'm still part of your family." And, you know, they feel it in their heart, and that's the truth. I feel it in my heart, that you are all family. Number two, all of you are important to me. Each and every person here is important to me, and I mean that. All of you affirm for me why I'm here. I know why I'm here. I know beyond knowing that we are to be here in this congregation, to be a part of you, and you a part of us. All of you I hold in prayer and meditation, and I do. Every week I go through the list, and even those that don't show up real regularly, I pray for and I hold in prayer and meditation. All of you make a difference in my life, and believe me, you have made a difference in my life, and you continue to make a difference in my life, and that's important. And if all of these resemble that 5 basic unity principles, again, we go back to that oneness of mind, that we come forth in this oneness of mind to be all that we can be. So today I give thanks for each and every one of you. And as we go forth with expanding this church building, and more importantly, as we go forth expanding our consciousness, we can know with faith that we are the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Thank you for being here.